Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. For the past few months and weeks, I've been taking you through series of lessons to help you know how to play the musical instrument, especially the guitar. And you could realize that if today is the first time of seeing my page, I would advise that you go back to my previous videos and then you watch them so that you can catch up with wherever I am now. So for the purpose of this video, or the reason why I'm making this video is just a continuation of what you have learned so far. And then this video and the subsequent ones are going to focus on the extended chords. But before we go to the extended chords, let's have a recap of what you have done so far. In our previous lessons and discussions, we've treated major scales, and then we've gotten to understand what scale degrees are. And then from there, we learned intervals. And then through the intervals, we're able to form some triads, which are 3-note chords. And then we did some voicing. As we cascade down the studies, I will throw more light. I'll highlight more on the voicing aspect. Okay, so like I said, the focus of this lesson and the subsequent ones is going to base on extended chords. So here we would learn more about the extended chords. But before we get to know about the extended chords, we have to learn about a very important chord, now the 7th chord. So that's what we will tackle first, and then we will get to know the rest. So what do we mean by the 7th chord? So we just have an overview. So before we zoom into that, we just have an overview. So for instance, if you take the C major scale, as I've explained in our previous videos, you realize that you have the C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So which corresponds to the various degree. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the C will be of degree 1. The Re or the second degree will have a degree of 2. And then the rest follow suit. Alright. So by virtue of having degree for these various notes, that means that we can assign the degree as well to the chords or to the notes in the chords. Okay, so we can assign the degree to the notes in the chords as well. So for instance, if you take the C major chord, you have 135. Okay, 135. So you have your root, which is the 1, and then you have the major third, and then you have the major fifth. Okay, all right. And then if you have any 2 notes, we can have 2-note chords as well, and then that one we call them dyads, or sometimes we use what we call the duet, but they are actually intervals as well. Okay, and then you can have the 3-note chords, which you have already treated. So the 7th chord is an aspect of a tetrad, and tetrads are 4 note chords. So the 7th chord is part of it. It's a tetrad. Okay, and then you realize that most of the triads and then the tetrads are built by stacking intervals of third on top of the other. I would explain that in more practical sense, and then you get to understand what I mean by stacking intervals of third on top of the other. So I will explain much in details when I get to the board. But for now, I just want to give you the overview and then little background about the study. All right. So when you have a case like that, by stacking of the intervals of third on top of the other. We call such chords tertian chords. So the triad is an aspect of a tertian chord, and then the string chords as well. They also tertian chords. Okay, they are tertian chords. All right. So the seventh chord is a tetrad, like I explained earlier on, and it's basically made up of the triad, and then just adding the 7th degree of the major scale. So the 7th degree could as well be the flat 7, which is the minor 7th, or the major 7th. Okay, so this is where the intervals play a very major role. So if you've forgotten or you don't know anything about intervals, I've made videos about intervals. You can go back to my channel and then watch all my videos. You realize that I've titled one intervals. I've explained everything in details. You can watch those videos and then get an understanding. So just have your major triad, your triad, and then you just add the 7th. So the 7th could either be a flat 7 or a major 7th. Okay, so when you have a case where the 7th chord is having a flat 7 or the minor 7th, then we call it a dominant chord. Okay, dominant chord. And then where it has the major 7th, then it's called just 7th. Okay, so the flat, we call the major 7th. Okay, so the flat is going to be a dominant chord, and then the other one is going to be a major 7th chord. Okay, all right. So the qualities could be a major, a minor 7th, and then it could be a dominant 7th. Okay, so you can have a major 7th chord, a minor 7th chord, and then we can have a dominant 7th chord. All right, so we can have the notations as follows. You can have the major 7, major 7, and then you have the minor, and then the dominant. Dominant, we mostly write 7, or in some music book you see dom. They'll write dom, but in most cases you just have 7 without any preface or anything like that sort. All right, so you can have an example like as in C major 7th, you can have C minor 7th, and then you can have C7. So C7 is actually a dominant chord with a flat 7, okay, or minor 7th. All right. So how do we form it? So like I explained earlier on, information on the 7th chord, all that you need is your triad. So you want to form a major 7th chord, you need your major triad, and then you need your 7th chord, your 7th note or 7th degree of the interval. So it's going to be a major triad, and then the 7th could either be the major 7th or the minor 7th. Okay, so the major 7th is going to give you a major 7th chord, and then the minor 7th going to give you a dominant 7th chord. And then you can have the minor chord as well, which is also going to give you you would need your minor triad, and then for the minor ones they will always take a minor 7th degree. Okay, you always take a minor 7th degree. So you're going to have a minor 7th. They are basically dominant chords, but we don't say dominant, C minor dominant. No, we just say C minor 7th or D minor 7th. Okay, unless it's a major chord, that's where we can use dominant. All right, and so the major aspects of the major chords being dominant. What I mean is if you want to take the major triad and then attach it with the minor 7th, mostly happen This mostly happen when you are dealing with the fifth degree, okay, of the major scale. So that's the sol. So if you want to form a seventh chord for sol or the fifth degree of the major scale, that's where you would use what? A dominant seventh chord. A dominant seventh chord. Right. So I've explained the minor triad, and then we go to the diminished. So the diminished, you can have the flat. The diminished as well is also going to take the flat 7. Okay, the flat 7. I will later on explain to you the other forms of the diminished chord. We can have the half diminished, and I will explain that later on. And one thing that I also want you to notice that when it comes to formation of chords, the third and then the seventh are very, very important. They play a vital role in the formation of chords. So if you want to know a major chord, it is the third that would let you know that this is a major chord. If you want to know a minor chord, it's a third that will let you know that this is a minor chord. So the fifth is sometimes omitted because it is not entirely important. So it's sometimes omitted. That's why I said that you can have a 2-note chord, and that one you can call it a duet. So you can have your do and then your mi, or the one and then the third. So we mostly don't add the fifth degree. You can omit it or you can include it. But for the seventh and then the third, they are very important. Okay. So before I come to what extended chords are, let me give you practical explanation of all that I've educated you on, or the background that I've given you. So let's go back to the guitar so that you get to understand things. So just like the way I said earlier on, if we take the C major scale, so we have the C, okay? So if you take the C major scale, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, okay? Alright. So to form a C major chord, which you already know, you have your first, and then you realize that you need your third. So you realize that the interval from the third to the fifth degree, okay, is also a third, but a minor third, okay? It's a minor third. So this is 1, the third, and then you realize that 1, 2, it's a minor third. And then you also know that from the 5th degree to the 7th degree is also a major third. So, okay, so it's all about third. So if the interval between 1 and the E is third, and then the interval between the E and then the G is third, and then the interval between the G and B is also third. Okay, so this is a major third, minor third, and then major third. So this is what I meant by stacking intervals of third on top of the other. Okay, so when it gets to the extended chords, you realize that it follows suit like this. It flows like that. Okay, just stacking them with third, and we get all the extended chords. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to consider the last 3 strings. I mean the E string, the E string, the E string, the A string, and then the what do you call the D string. Okay, so you have the E string, A, and then the D string. So we are going to see if we could use that to form the 7th chord. So our key is still C. So I go to the last string, go to the last string, and I locate my C. So my C will be here. And I presume by now you know the keys. So the C is here. So what you need is your solfege or your major scale. You form. So from there, you locate your 1, look for your 3, okay, and then you look for your 5. So you look for your 5 and then you look for your 7. So you are playing everything within 4 frets. So you're using only 3 strings, and you realize that the 5th is on the same string as the 3rd. And like I said earlier on, when it comes to chords, the 5th is not entirely important, so you can omit it. So here, using 3 strings, you realize that the 5th shares the same string with the 3rd, so I can omit it. Because what will tell me that this chord is a major chord or minor chord is the 3rd, okay, which is very important. So I will omit the 5th, and this is a chord, it's a major chord. So, and then I'll look for my 7th. So since it's going to be, a major chord, not a dominant chord. It's not a 5th degree of the major scale that I'm forming the major chord for, but it's rather the 1st degree of the major scale, which is C. Okay, so I have to use the major 7th, not the dominant 7th or the flat 7th. I have to use the major 7th. So this is my major 7th. So this is going to be the shape of the chord. Okay, this is going to be the shape of the chord. Okay, you have your 1 here, and you have your 3rd, and you have your 7th here. So it's going to be this. Okay, all right. And so the next one is, don't forget that we are playing everything diathonically. So I can either go this side or go backward. So if I'm to go backward like this, that means it's going to be okay. All right. Okay. So I can go this side, or I can come, towards my right hand. Okay, so I already know the shape for the C major. So I go to I'm going this side first. So I go to the T. The T is going to be a diminished chord. So 3 strings. So I have my 1. So this is a diminished, so it's going to be a flat 3. Okay, and then I have my flat. It's a diminished chord, so it's also going to use, like I explained in the slides. So it's going to use flat 7 or minor 7. So it's going to be the flat 7. So it's going to be okay. It's going to be this. And then this. And that. Okay. So this is going to be the shape. So our A was this, and then our diminished. Okay, so use these three fingers. Supposed to be 4-note chord, but because we are using 3 strings, we have omitted the fifth, the so. Okay, that's why it's becoming 3-note chord, but still. So if you go to the La, it's also the minor chord. It's also going to have the same shape. So the so we are going to use major third, and then we use a dominant 7th or flat 7. So anytime you are playing a 7th chord and then you get to so or the 5th degree of that key, form a dominant 7 chord. Form a dominant 7 chord. Alright, I will explain to you why it's always a dominant 7 chord. Okay, so that's going to be this. Okay. So that's it. 3rd fret, 6th string, 6th string, 2nd fret, 5th string, and then 3rd fret, 4th string. Okay, so 6th string, 5th string, 4th string, and then the F. The F is going to have the same shape as the C. Okay, which is the Fa. Same shape as it's going to have the same shape as the third. It means the third is a free string, and then have the major set. Okay, so we're going to have this. To this side. The Re is going to be a minor, so it's also going to have this shape like the A minor is going to be this. So this is D minor 7th chord, E minor 7th chord, and then you have your F major 7th chord. Okay. top, top 3 strings. Okay, so in the next video we'll discuss the first 1 2 3 4, that's the last 4 strings, how the shape is going to be before we come to the 5th string. Okay, so like I said, it's a 4-note chord. So we are taking the last string, the 6th string first, and then we get to know the shape of all the 4 notes. Okay, and then we proceed to other strings as well. Alright, thank you for making time to watch the video. Please, if it's your first time of coming here, try as much as possible to do me the honors by hitting the sub button and then like it, so that it can reach a lot of people who wants to learn the instrument. Okay, so and then you can send me your comments. You can ask me any question that you want that's bothering you, and then I'll do my possible best to give you the necessary reply, and that will help you. Okay.